the unexpected creatine side effect. After age 60. When most people hear the word creatine, they immediately picture young athletes lifting heavy weights at the gym. But something interesting has been happening lately. More adults over 60 are starting to use creatine too, and many are noticing effects they never expected. And honestly, the most surprising changes often have very little to do with looking muscular. Many older adults report subtle improvements in everyday life instead. Things like feeling a little stronger during daily activities, recovering more easily, having steadier energy, or simply feeling more capable and active throughout the day. These aren't flashy social media transformations, but they can make a meaningful difference in quality of life. At the same time, creatine still comes with a lot of confusion, myths, and online misinformation. Some people worry it's unsafe, others expect instant miracles, and many have no idea what the supplement actually does inside the body in the first place. So today, we're breaking down the surprising side effects adults over 60 experience with creatine, the good, the misunderstood, and the unexpected. We'll talk about what's real, what's exaggerated online, and why this simple supplement is suddenly getting so much attention in the healthy aging world. And trust me, number 7 is something most people never expect from a basic supplement powder. But before we begin, drop your name and the city you're watching from in the comments below. Alright, let's get started. Number 1. Everyday movements may start feeling easier. Have you ever noticed how small physical tasks seem to take more effort as you get older? Things like climbing stairs, carrying groceries, getting up from a chair, or even walking longer. Distances can slowly start feeling more exhausting over time. That's one reason so many older adults become interested in creatine in the first place. And interestingly, one unexpected effect many people notice isn't huge muscles or dramatic gym performance. It's that everyday movement simply starts feeling a little easier. The reason comes down to energy production inside the muscles. Creatine helps muscles produce quick energy more efficiently, especially during short bursts of effort. That may not sound exciting at first, but daily life is actually filled with those short bursts of movement. Standing up, lifting bags, climbing steps, getting out of the car, or carrying laundry all require quick muscular effort throughout the day. And over time, some adults notice those activities feel slightly smoother and less tiring than before. They may feel steadier, less fatigued, or more physically capable doing normal daily tasks that used to wear them out faster. Now, this isn't some dramatic superhero transformation overnight. Creatine doesn't suddenly turn someone into a bodybuilder at 65. The changes are usually subtle and gradual, but honestly, that's what makes them meaningful. Because when simple daily movements feel easier, people often stay more active overall. And staying active longer is one of the biggest keys to maintaining independence, mobility, confidence, and quality of life as we age. Sometimes the most valuable benefits aren't flashy at all. They're the small physical improvements that quietly make everyday life feel smoother, easier, and more manageable over time. Number 2. Recovery may improve more than expected. Here's something many people over 60 don't fully realize until they experience it firsthand. Recovery becomes incredibly important with age. When we're younger, the body tends to bounce back quickly after workouts, long walks, busy days, or physical activity. But over time, recovery naturally slows down. Muscles stay sore longer, fatigue lingers more easily, and even normal activity can sometimes leave people feeling drained the next day. That's why one of the most interesting effects some older adults notice with creatine has nothing to do with looking muscular at all. Instead, they often describe feeling less exhausted after physical activity. Walks may feel easier to recover from, muscles may feel less fatigued after exercise, and workouts or active days may become easier to repeat consistently without feeling completely wiped out afterward. Now, the changes are usually subtle, not some dramatic burst of energy overnight, but those small improvements can become incredibly meaningful over time. Because honestly, consistency matters far more than intensity later in life. The goal usually isn't training like a professional athlete. It's staying active regularly enough to support strength, mobility, balance, and independence as the years go on. And that's where recovery becomes so important. If exercise constantly leaves someone feeling overly sore or exhausted, they're much less likely to stick with it consistently. But when the body feels slightly more capable of recovering, staying active becomes much easier and more sustainable. That's why some adults, over 60, find creatine surprisingly helpful. Not because it creates dramatic transformations, but because it may help make movement, recovery, and physical activity feel just manageable enough to stay consistent long-term. And honestly, long-term consistency is where the real health benefits usually happen. Number 3. The scale might go up, and that can feel confusing. Ever gained a few pounds while trying to become healthier? That's actually one of the most misunderstood side effects of creatine, and it catches a lot of people off guard. Someone starts taking creatine, steps on the scale a week or two later, and suddenly notices the number creeping up. And honestly, if nobody explains what's happening ahead of time, it can feel pretty discouraging. Many people immediately assume they're gaining body fat, or that the supplement is somehow making them unhealthy, but in most cases, that's not what's happening at all. Creatine pulls extra water into your muscle cells, which is part of how it helps support muscle performance, hydration, and recovery. Because of that, body weight often increases slightly during the first couple of weeks. For some people, it's only a pound or two. For others, it can be a little more noticeable. The important thing to understand is that this usually isn't fat gain. It's mostly extra water stored inside the muscles themselves, and interestingly, that extra hydration inside the muscle can actually be beneficial. Well-hydrated muscles often perform better, recover more efficiently, and even look slightly fuller or healthier. That's one reason many people notice their muscles appear more filled out after starting creatine. Still, the psychological side of seeing the scale go up can be difficult, especially for older adults trying to lose weight or improve their health. That's why understanding this side effect matters so much. Sometimes the scale doesn't tell the full story. A small increase in weight doesn't automatically mean worsening health. In many cases, it simply means the muscles are storing more water and becoming better supported for movement, strength, and recovery over time. Number 4. Hydration suddenly becomes a bigger deal. Did you know creatine can quietly expose poor hydration habits you didn't even realize you had? This is something many adults over 60 notice fairly quickly after starting creatine. Because creatine pulls extra water into your muscle cells, your body's demand for fluids can increase. And if you're not drinking enough water to support that change, your body often lets you know pretty fast. Some people start feeling sluggish, tired, foggy, or unusually fatigued during the day. Others notice headaches, dry mouth, muscle tightness, or lower energy without understanding what's causing it. Then they assume creatine is the problem, when in reality, the bigger issue is usually hydration. And honestly, many older adults are already walking around mildly dehydrated without realizing it. As we age, the body naturally becomes less efficient at regulating fluids, and the sense of thirst can become weaker, too. That means some people simply aren't drinking enough water consistently throughout the day, even before adding creatine. What's interesting is that creatine often makes those hydration issues much more noticeable. In a strange way, it forces people to finally pay closer attention to fluid intake, and many end up feeling better overall because of it. The good news is that this is one of the easiest side effects to manage once you understand what your body needs. For most people, the solution is simple: stay consistent with hydration, especially during hot weather, exercise, or active days. Once fluid intake improves, many people notice they feel better, recover better, and tolerate creatine much more comfortably overall. Sometimes the issue isn't the supplement itself, it's simply giving the body the water it's been needing all along. Number 5. Muscles may look fuller before strength improves. Now this catches people off guard all the time. Some creatine users actually notice visual changes in the mirror before they notice major strength improvements in the gym. A person may start taking creatine, look at themselves a couple of weeks later, and suddenly think, wait, do my muscles look different already? And honestly, in many cases, they probably do. Because creatine increases water storage inside muscle cells, muscles often appear slightly fuller, firmer, or more filled out fairly quickly. It's not instant bodybuilder-level muscle growth overnight, but visually, the muscles can start looking healthier and more noticeable early on. That's one reason creatine developed such a strong reputation in the fitness world. People often see subtle physical changes before they fully experience the deeper long-term benefits like strength increases, endurance improvements, or muscle growth over time. And, psychologically, those early visual changes can be surprisingly powerful. For some people, especially older adults who haven't felt confident about their body in years, seeing even small positive changes can become a huge motivation boost. Suddenly, they feel encouraged to keep exercising, eating better, staying active, and taking care of themselves consistently. Of course, it's important to remember that this fuller appearance mostly comes from increased water inside the muscles, not massive amounts of brand new muscle tissue appearing instantly. Real muscle growth still takes time, movement, recovery, and consistency. But honestly, sometimes small visible improvements are exactly what people need to stay motivated long enough for the bigger long-term results to happen. And that may be one of the most underrated effects of creatine after 60, not just helping muscles perform better, but helping people feel more confident, capable, and encouraged to stay active moving forward. Number 6. Workouts and walks may feel less exhausting. Here's a subtle but really important effect that many older adults notice with creatine. Most people don't describe it as some giant burst of more energy. In fact, that's usually not how it feels at all. Instead, many people describe something much quieter, but surprisingly meaningful. They simply feel less wiped out after physical effort. Walks may feel easier to finish without needing as much recovery afterward. Exercise sessions may feel smoother and less draining. Daily activities that normally leave someone exhausted may feel just a little more manageable. And during movement or exercise, fatigue might not hit quite as hard or as quickly as before. At first, those changes can seem small. But honestly, small improvements matter a lot more than people realize, especially after 60, because when movement feels easier, people naturally become more willing to stay active consistently. They walk more often, they exercise more regularly, they feel less intimidated by physical activity because their body doesn't seem to fight back as hard afterward. And over time, that consistency becomes incredibly powerful. That's the part people often underestimate about healthy aging. Big long-term changes usually don't come from one dramatic workout or one magical supplement. They come from small improvements repeated over and over again. A little less fatigue can lead to more movement. More movement helps maintain strength, mobility, balance, and independence. And those habits slowly build on each other month after month. Sometimes the most meaningful health improvements don't feel dramatic at all in the moment. They feel subtle, quiet, and gradual. But over the years, those small improvements can completely change how someone moves, feels, and functions in everyday life. Number 7. Some people notice better mental sharpness. Now here's the unexpected side effect almost nobody talks about. Most people think creatine is only about muscles, gym performance, or physical strength, but creatine also plays a role in energy production inside the brain. And honestly, that's where things start getting really interesting. Some adults over 60 report feeling a little more mentally alert, focused, or less mentally drained during the day after taking creatine consistently. Others describe feeling less foggy, more steady mentally, or better able to handle mentally demanding days without feeling completely exhausted. Now, it's important to keep this realistic. Creatine is not some miracle brain supplement that suddenly transforms memory or turns someone into a genius overnight, but researchers are becoming increasingly interested in the connection between creatine, brain energy, and cognitive function, especially as people age. The brain requires a huge amount of energy to function properly, and creatine helps support the body's energy systems overall. That's one reason scientists have started paying closer attention to how creatine may potentially support mental performance, focus, and cognitive resilience in older adults. And for many people, this mental effect ends up being even more surprising than the physical changes. They expected possible strength improvements or easier recovery, but they didn't expect to feel mentally sharper too. Honestly, that's part of why creatine has become such a growing topic in healthy aging conversations lately. The discussion is no longer just about muscles anymore. It's about supporting overall function, energy, mobility, and possibly even brain health as people get older. Number 8. The biggest effect may be confidence and independence. This might actually be the most important point of all, and honestly, it has very little to do with looking muscular. Feeling physically stronger changes the way people move through life every single day. When everyday movement starts feeling easier, something else often changes too: confidence. people become more willing to stay active. They walk more, they exercise more consistently, they feel less nervous about stairs, carrying things, traveling, or keeping up with daily responsibilities. Even small improvements in strength and mobility can make someone feel more capable and independent overall, and after 60, that's a huge deal. Because maintaining strength isn't just about fitness anymore, it's about preserving quality of life. Stronger muscles help support balance, mobility, stability, and independence as the years go on. They help people continue doing normal daily activities without feeling physically limited all the time. What's interesting is that this often creates a positive chain reaction. When people feel stronger, they tend to move more. The more they move, the better they usually feel, physically and mentally. And the more capable they feel, the more confidence they gain in their body again. That's why sometimes the biggest effect of creatine isn't purely physical at all, it's psychological. Feeling stronger changes how people think about aging. Instead of feeling fragile or limited, many people start feeling capable again. And honestly, that shift in mindset can be just as powerful as the physical improvements themselves, because after 60, confidence, mobility, independence, and the ability to stay active may matter far more than chasing dramatic fitness transformations ever could. So, what's the unexpected creatine side effect after age 60? Honestly, it may be that the changes go far beyond the gym. From easier movement and better recovery to improved confidence and even mental sharpness, creatine can affect daily life in ways many people never expect. What about you? Have you ever considered trying creatine after 60, or are you already using it? And which of these effects surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more honest health and fitness content without the hype.